Hello, all of you beautiful people, and welcome to or welcome back to the Voice of Reality podcast. I am so happy to have you here today, of course, and I am forever grateful to have you tuning in and for this space that we have created. Today, we're going to be discussing some fun things and things that I know will help you all when it comes to your own journeys. And of course, if there is any questions whatsoever, always just fire away. So let's get into it. We have Amy back on today to chat all things cardio and running as well. I feel like 2024 has been running girl era, which is amazing to see. I'm actually obsessed with it. But yeah, everyone and their nanny has been out doing 5Ks, 3Ks, and everything in between, and even just like half marathons in general, and just little things. It's been so nice seeing kind of just fitness in general coming up through running. In 2024. So we'll chat all things with cardio and running today, tips, tricks, advice, and anything that we can help with, of course. So, Amy, how have you been? How are you feeling today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me back on.
You are very welcome. And as I always say, it is really nice to have a kind of another person on to chat with these things and give your own perspective, your advice, and obviously you are training for your own half marathon now as well.
Yeah, I actually can't believe that doing this still, but we're
Yeah,
very excited for it. Yeah.
it's the Dublin half marathon. It's the 13th, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. So next weekend, like,
Yeah, we'll all be rooting for you anyway from the sidelines. It's very exciting. But yeah, so we're gonna kind of chat about cardio first, and then we will kind of get into running as well with that. So just with regards to cardio, I think there is so many questions that are kind of wrapped around with this. And I even remember when I first started going to the gym, like cardio was what you did. Do you know what I mean? Like no one was in the weight section, especially not women. Do you know what I mean? No one was using weights. It was all cardio on the treadmills, maybe, on the elliptical trainers and the steppers and all of that. And I remember just burning like every machine out in the gym when it came to cardio. And it's amazing. But what are your thoughts kind of on cardio and obviously the benefits that it has?
I obviously think cardio is great. Like, it's a great way, whether you have a fat loss goal or even if you don't have a fat loss goal, just to actually keep yourself healthy. It is so important. But I do think, like you said, like it was a thing that women were nearly just expected to only go to a gym and only do cardio. So I don't think it's like the be all end all, but it's definitely a great tool to add in to help you get a step closer to your goals and just feel overall good. Like,
Yeah, and even when I think even when you were saying there with women and they just would never kind of step out of that cardio section, and the amount of calls I've had or just DMs and little things where people are like, I'm so afraid to go into that weights room or, pick up a weight and kind of work with that because it really just has been a thing for so long where women are just nearly expected to
yeah.
not be there and to not take up space. But yeah, that's why I think it's really nice to chat about this in the sense of what cardio is actually useful for, and kind of what it does help and benefit, but also at the same time, it is not what the only thing that you should be doing. Do you know what I mean? When it comes to your goals. But it is amazing, obviously, for the heart rate and general fitness, overall health. Like cardio is amazing for your overall health and actually getting your blood pumping, your heart rate up, and just making sure that your fitness levels are still there. So even when people are bulking, I normally still have some sort of cardio in till the last minute. Like if I really have to pull it, we pull it. But like I just think it's so beneficial for your kind of fitness health. I wouldn't say it's the best thing ever for like maybe if you want to change your body composition or muscle mass, but it is amazing for that kind of like fitness, overall health in general. And as you said there, just to really help alongside with your goals and fat loss, because cardio is probably the biggest energy expenditure that we use when it comes to obviously say losing weight and burning calories.
We kind of said it before, but people would have just thought, right, okay, I just need to do cardio to lose weight or whatever it is. Whereas now it's like, no, we just want to add it in as our extra energy expenditure instead of it being our full energy expenditure. Because it's not going to give you that desired physique that you have in mind. It's literally just going to aid you with that. Like, your weight training is going to give you that physique shape, whereas the cardio is just going to help you nearly bring it all to life.
Yeah. And I think it's really important that we open with that and we discuss that at the
Mhm.
start, because I don't want anyone thinking that we are all hail cardio and we don't do anything else. We're saying it is a useful tool
Yeah.
alongside other things on your journey. So yes, I love cardio. We love cardio. We implement it with nearly every plan, probably not from the very, very start. But obviously as time goes on with clients' journeys, there will be cardio implemented. So it is something that is very beneficial with any kind of journey in that. But what is your favorite form of cardio, especially in the gym setting?
In the gym, I think it has to be the Stairmaster. And, like, I don't know why, but I think you can just get on that and, like, you know yourself, like, you'll be on the thing 30 seconds, you're gonna get the heart rate up, the sweat pump, and, like, you're not gonna really have to think about much, whereas I find, like, if I'm on, like, the treadmill or the bike or something, I just can't sustain my heart rate as high because 'cause I'm probably not putting in, say, as much effort as I would, like, consciously, whereas on the Stairmaster, I don't have to think about it. I literally just have to go on it for whatever amount of time, just stepping up and down, whatever
Yeah.
it is, and that's it, like, you don't have to think, just like, "Right, just count down the minutes and we're done."
Just have to concentrate on not dying, basically,
Yeah, literally.
and breathing.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's mad because I love incline treadmill. I won't lie, I love her. And I feel like I get a proper like sweat. The only thing is with that is that it takes longer to obviously get the sweat going and to
yeah,
get your heart rate up, and to actually you will burn a lot more calories in less time on the
mm,
stairmaster than you will on the treadmill. So I've been a treadmill girly for years, always on the incline. That's what I've always used. I've loved it. But over the past few months, I've changed it up to the stairmaster. I just got kind of bored, like, and I
mm,
have noticed that I haven't had to spend as long of an amount of time on the stairmaster because your heart rate's so much higher. So
yeah,
yeah, I do think they're both very beneficial. It's just that you probably will have to spend longer on the treadmill than you would on the Stairmaster. But for anyone kind of starting and going to the gym and their fitness levels aren't the highest, I would start on the treadmill and then work up to the Stairmaster, because it is
yeah.
not for the faint hearted.
No, God, no, like, you just look at the thing and you're sweating, like,
Yeah.
it's rough out there, but as you said, like, it's nice to actually have that little goal as well to build up to, like, maybe start on the treadmill and then go to the bike or the rower or something, and then as the fitness levels build yourself up to do the Stairmaster, or even breaking it down. So maybe doing, if you have 20 minutes to do, you could do 10 minutes on the treadmill, 10 minutes on the Stairmaster, like, there is a few ways you can do it too.
Yeah, and do you know
Exciting.
what? It's actually so nice that you say that, because there's so many clients that I've had that their wins will be, "Oh my god, I did 10 minutes on the Stairmaster today. The next week I did 20 minutes on the Stairmaster." Because I don't think anyone genuinely understands how hard it is to keep that level of "I'm not going to die" up on it. So I think definitely starting off like slow and building it up, because it is tough. With the treadmill, like, where it's just as beneficial. It's just that you might have to be on it longer to like get the same amount of value out of it. But yeah, to be honest, I've never really used like a bike or an elliptical trainer or like stepper. I've never used those. It's always been treadmill or stairmaster for me. Anyway.
Yeah. I think the bike though, like, I think the bike is the worst, especially after a
Yeah.
leg day, because your quads are already, like, burning, say, after training legs, and then you literally just get on the bike and they feel even worse. Like, I find my recovery would be worse after a bike than if I was just to do the Stairmaster or the treadmill. So that's
Yeah.
also something to keep in mind, like,
Also, my arse would be
yeah,
like
oh,
coming
Jesus,
off.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like I remember doing spin classes, like, and as much as they are intense, like, oh my God, like you'll be a pool of sweat, like, but I remember being like, my arse is like, it's so painful. It took
yeah,
away from the classes. So
yeah.
saluting anyone out there that does spin or on the bike, because it is hard on the bum for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I actually did a poll as well where it was asking like what are people's favorites kind of when it comes to cardio in general and the methods that they use. And I was so surprised because I thought everyone was going to say treadmill. I was like, it's just the most generic thing. Nearly now, to be fair, Stairmaster and treadmill, they're the most popular, but Stairmaster still came out like top. And I was honestly like, that's mad because I would have thought everyone just opted for the treadmill. And a lot of people just that's just what they enjoy, and that's absolutely fine, as we've said. But yeah, Stairmaster came out on top. So maybe people are coming in and they're going straight for it, and I love that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's deadly. So the difference, we were just kind of talking about this as well, the difference between the treadmill, stairmaster, and classes, because classes are obviously a huge thing now as well. And one thing that I'll say with classes, and I might get a few people that come to me and ask, I'm doing 3 classes a week, but I'm not seeing changes and little things like that. I think a huge thing with classes is that they're a little bit more for intensity rather than, like progressing with weights, maybe progressing with actual reps and muscle engagement and things like that. I think a lot of the time classes are more so, say, like circuits or spin classes, and they're more cardio based. And that's amazing. I'll always say, to add in classes if you're getting very bored of your cardio. But I wouldn't say there's any like major differences between them. It really depends on intensity and everything like that. But I do think classes, if you find one that you enjoy, absolutely bleed it dry and add it into your actual cardio regime. Like,
Yeah, no, definitely. And I know like even the likes of the bike row ski classes, things like that are becoming like more popular and stuff. And they are like they're great for doing cardio as well. And especially like to have it as a social thing too. I think it's nice. But I wouldn't just solely focus on them sort of classes if you have a physique goal in mind. You need to be doing your other bits alongside of that. So use it as an additive, but don't use it as everything.
yeah, yeah, because there is, and this is the thing, I love classes, but I do think if you have very personal, specific goals, they're not going to get you there. Like your body is obviously very different to Karen, who's going to be next to you in the class. Do you know what I mean? And you are both there doing the exact same thing. So if you have very specific personal goals, you do need to maybe, work on that as well. But the classes are amazing for cardio. I absolutely love them. I could not fault them. And I always say to anyone who wanted to add in classes as their actual method, 1000%. As you even said there, bike row ski is huge now. Heated spin, polar classes, all of these things,
Yeah.
they're deadly. And it is like a kind of more community as well. But one thing that I would say, if you were to like mix and match, no problem. Like, love that. But I would probably aim for the calories that you're burning then rather than time, if that makes sense. So, say for
Yeah.
a lot of people that might mix and match their methods, for myself, I will say, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to aim to burn 400 calories or 300 calories in each session, so that we know we can progress with each session and it's not different, it's not sporadic, and that's what we're aiming for rather than saying, okay, we're just going to do 360 minutes. It means that, and as we were saying there, if you were to step on the Stairmaster for maybe 30, 35 minutes, you would probably burn 300 calories ish. If you were
Yeah.
to step on the treadmill, though, and you wanted to burn 300 calories, you would definitely be on it for about 45, 50 minutes.
Yeah, definitely. It's just the different levels of intensity as well. That's what's going to get your heart rate up and that's what's going to burn the calories, say. So you want to keep it consistent each week instead of just being kind of going off what you're feeling, say, each day or a time or something.
Yeah.
So, like you said, just set the calories out. So you're going to have 300 calorie sessions, say, in the week. Make sure you keep them consistent across the week and then progress from there.
Yeah, so there's no, like, to be honest, there's no right or wrong, there's no good or bad. We love them all, and we incorporate them all. But I do think a huge tip, if you are to change up your methods, is to go off calories instead of times or intensity, because it's very important that you're able to progress with your cardio just as much as anything else. So, say for example, as you begin, you're aiming to burn 200 calories, and then you might up it to 250, and then you might up to 300, and little things like that. So yeah, there's no good or bad. It is genuinely completely dependent on each person's goals and their actual preference then, of course.
Yeah,
Um
definitely.
so another thing obviously that I would get asked a lot, and I don't know about you, but it is fasted cardio. Is it beneficial? Should I be going to the gym before I eat, after I eat? Should I be doing cardio like without any food? And I don't know, like I think people really need to know that like fasted cardio and things like that is kind of like a resort that you would go back to if you were literally digging as deep as you possibly could, like you were about to step on stage. People that
Yeah.
are going to the gym for just general goals, general physique goals, lifestyle, want to feel fit, don't even need to think about fasted cardio.
No, definitely. I don't think I've ever done a fasted cardio session in my life. I genuinely think I would die, like, I would faint off that stairmaster, so no, it's never been done, and I never plan on doing it
No, I
either.
know. And I
Yeah.
do think as well as that, like it is just personal preference. Like if you are someone that wakes up at 6 a.m. and goes and does your cardio and it's too early to eat, like that is fine. Like please don't be like, oh my God, I'm going to like faint and die. Like not at all, because you're still going to be getting energy from storage. It's just what is like preferable to you. And I don't think anyone should be looking at this advice online thinking, oh my God, they do it fasted. So I have to if you do your cardio at 5, 6 a.m. and you don't eat because it's so early, that is fine. If you do your cardio at 1 p.m., 2 p.m., and you've already had a meal before it, that is also fine. But yeah, so I think a huge thing to know is like the kind of science and the reasoning why fasted cardio might be in somewhat helpful is because you're not getting food into you before you do your cardio, your body is basically taking energy from storage. So you haven't eaten and you haven't given your body something to get like a fast release of energy. So your body's taking energy from storage and taking it from like say fat cells and different things like that. So that's what people are seeing, and people are thinking, oh my God, if I don't eat, that means that, the cardio is going to eat into my fat tissue. That isn't the case either. And it's just so important to know that if you are in your calorie deficit and you're trying to lose fat, that is all that matters. So do not
Yeah.
be digging a hole where it comes to fasted cardio and things like that when you genuinely do not need to.
No, God, no. Like literally, as you said, unless you are like trying to dig extremely deep, like as in about to step on stage or something like that, then you may need to look at adding it in. But like if you are just a lifestyle client and you want to just have these goals and you want to start to add in cardio, like to help you with them goals, like please do not think like deep it too much. Do not go onto TikTok or anything like that to see their opinions on it. Just do your cardio whenever it actually suits you so you can stay consistent with it, like, because you might one day get to do a fasted cardio session grand, but like once you can maintain your sessions throughout the week, that's all that matters. You do not need to put so much pressure on yourself to be up at 5 or 6 in the morning if that doesn't even suit your schedule just to get a fasted cardio session in because you've seen one person post about doing it. Just focus on actually doing what you can and when you can.
Yeah, there's so much noise out there, and I think as well, even as you said there, it's so important that it is personal preference. If you getting up at 5, 6 a.m. is how you fit your morning movement in, amazing. If you don't, you should not be overthinking it and then trying to do that and basically burning yourself out and not enjoying it, because realistically you will end up being like, "Do you know what, I don't actually want to do this anymore. I'm waking up too early," little things like that. Just do your workout, do your training, do your cardio, when you can, how you can, and in the most kind of beneficial way to you. So no fasted cardio is needed, people. So yeah, another thing that I did ask was who like kind of weights versus cardio. And I always kind of have people asking, what is the deal with that? Like what's the science behind it with regards to like what does cardio do? What does weights do? Like even when it comes to classes and things like that, and people are like, maybe I do 3, 4 classes a week and they might have weights in them, but the classes are more cardio based. And the reason how you will know if it is cardio is if your heart rate is up at a certain zone for a certain amount of time. But as well as that, like I think there is this whole thing between what's better for your goals, weight training, cardio training, and what one's going to get me to my goals quicker. So which one, like what do you prefer? What's your kind of thought process on that?
I think my preference will always be weights. Like it's always going to be weight training. I don't think anything or anyone will ever change my mind on that. Just because weight training actually makes you feel like, I don't know, I feel more strong and empowered after a weight session than I would say after a session on the Stairmaster. Like obviously they're going to be working it in two different ways. But I love just pushing the numbers every week and feeling like really strong with the weights that I'm lifting over, say, getting a sweat on the stairmaster or a treadmill or whatever that is. So that would be my personal preference there now.
Yeah. No, I am. I've always been a weights girly, like, but like I'm someone that's like, I love the challenge of being like, right, what
Mm,
reps can I get? What weight can I kind of progress with and things like that? Whereas do you see cardio, like I just think that's like the depths of hell. Like I won't lie. Like when I'm doing cardio, I'm like, I don't like it here. Like I do it anyway. I have to do it. Like it's a challenge. It's great for the mindset because you're literally like doing something that is hard, but like I don't enjoy cardio. And when I see people genuinely enjoying doing these things and just loving this kind of form of training, I'm like, wow, like you must be on a different level. It's amazing because it can be intense. And I
yeah.
think cardio is so tough. So anyone out there that's with me, like so normal. Cardio is hard. But as well as that, there is two very different elements to each. So like weight training is amazing and it is more so for say your joints, muscle mass, longevity when it comes to kind of like wanting to burn calories but in a longer period of time. So the more muscle mass you have on your body, the more calories you burn on a day-to-day base. So if you are looking to change your body composition, and kind of change the way that your body looks, you want to create muscle mass. Number one, because it's going to take up less room in your body, so you're going to appear smaller. But number two, just like I said, it's actually going to burn more calories for you on a day-to-day base. So the longevity that muscle mass and weight training gives to you is like second to none. And
Yeah.
then obviously like joints, your actual kind of heart health, your fitness levels in general, like weight training is great. And even when I think of way back when I was younger and I was saying like I was always doing cardio, I never saw any changes in my actual physique. It was all cardio, and yes, I'd have my heart rate up and I'd be sweating, but no changes with regards to how I looked. And that is because cardio is more so for your energy expenditure, of course, your actual fitness level and kind of your heart health, of course. But it is more so for the amount of kind of energy you can burn, which is amazing, especially if your goal is fat loss, but it is not going to change your body composition.
No, definitely not. Like it's only going to aid getting your body composition to whatever point you want it to be at, but it's not like gonna do the magic for you. Like that's gonna be your weight training is gonna give you the shape, and then the cardio will help you to kind of just burn the energy expenditure so you are keeping yourself in that deficit.
Yeah. And you know what? Another thing that I obviously always used to do, but I always hear people doing it as well, and you're going to be the same, I'd say. When I used to say be on the treadmill or do even a class, I'd always set my watch on and I'd be seeing what calories I burnt. And like obviously doing a cardio session, you might burn 300-400 calories because it's intense. Your blood's pumping, your heart rate is thumping through your chest. And then come a training session, you might only burn maybe 250 calories, maybe even less, who knows. And I used to be like, sure, why am I training weights if I burn more calories on cardio? And so many people say that to me where they're like, oh my god, I only burnt this amount on like training full body with my weight session. And I'm like, it does not matter how much calories you burn training your weights, because it's not about that. Like your weights training session is for longevity and for your body composition, engaging those muscles, your joints, building the muscle mass. It is not to expend more and more energy and, to burn calories, basically. But I did fall into that trap a lot when I
Oh
was
yeah.
starting off.
Yeah, I think we were all kind of like a victim to that, everyone posting on whatever it was, Instagram and stuff, being like, oh, look how many calories like I've burnt there, like doing cardio, and then you go and do your weight training sessions and like you're not burning as much. You would be like, especially if you don't have much education on it all, you would be like, right, why am I even doing this? I may as well just go back and do my cardio and get the calories burnt, whatever it is. But then again, you do have to remember when you are weight training, you're taking more rest periods than you would when you're doing cardio. So that's not gonna your heart rate will never stay consistently high when you're weight training. It might peak whenever you're coming towards the end of a set and you're literally sweating out them last few reps, but it will settle back down as well. So that's one thing, just if you do see people posting stuff on Instagram, like of their weight sessions and stuff, and it's calories burnt, that's where it's coming from. Like your heart rate spiking every so often. It's not going to be from staying at a consistent heart rate like you would with cardio.
Yeah. And I think it's very important to know, like, I never track my sessions on my watch. Do you? Do you use your watch anymore?
I used to, like, I would have maybe just, like, tracked it or whatever, like, just more so for the time, but, like, I
Yeah.
would have in the past. No, I actually haven't. I lost or broke my watch even a while ago. Haven't gotten another one since, and it's been the best thing I've ever done, especially for, like, my training and all. Like, it's annoying having to track steps and stuff on your phone, but, like, when I'm, like, weight training and all, I'm, like, less distracted by the watch now, so it's the best thing I've ever done for that.
Yeah.
Even to see
And
stuff come in, I'm like, "Just no, I wanna be in my peaceful era." Training away, like,
yeah,
so
and it's mad because I actually met up with a client yesterday, and I was only talking to her about the whole watch thing, and she said, "Oh, when I train upper body, like, I only burn about 150, 200 calories." And I was like, "Miss Girl, we know better than this." I was like, "We don't think about what calories we're burning in our weight training sessions. What we want in that session is progression with weights, with reps, with execution. And we want to know that that is every single time we go in and train, we're building like a better body and a better composition. We're not in there looking to burn calories in our weight training session itself." And I was kind of thinking to myself, God, I genuinely, from the age of about 16 to 21, 22, my watch was my Bible. Like, I
Mm,
would not leave that gym floor unless I had burnt 500 calories. Do you know what I mean? It could be in there for hours, could be doing the most random, shittiest structured plans. But if they got me more calories burnt, amazing. It's not how it
yeah,
works. It's not how it
no,
works. You need a plan specific to you, specific to your goals. Cardio should be in there with it. Your cardio will burn more calories, and that will mean you're expending more energy. That will mean that you're in a broader calorie deficit if it's fat loss we're looking for. But the weight training is going to help you actually build the physique that you want and the composition that you want.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and also, sorry, really, really important to always know that the more muscle you have on your body, the more you burn on a day to day basis. So you want that obviously over time as well to accumulate as much as possible. But I do think the watches and looking at watches for calories burnt, even when it comes to cardio, sometimes can be very toxic.
Oh god, yeah. Yeah, because you nearly feel like you're not doing enough sometimes when your calories aren't burnt as high. So I would say, like, just if you are weight training and even, like, with cardio and stuff like that, obviously you wanna know about your heart rate and stuff, but it can be nice just to take it off for a session and just get in and focus on the actual session and how you feel after it instead of letting your session be dictated by a watch on your wrist. Do you
Yeah.
know? That could
And
actually be accurate, like
I know, because that's another thing, like,
yeah.
they don't actually know who you are and what you're doing,
Mm,
but me and you could be standing next to each other on a treadmill, could be on incline treadmill for 45 minutes, and we
yeah,
will have completely different stats at the end of it, because I'm completely different to you, you're completely different
mm,
to me, and as well as that, our fitness levels and our own experience and history is different. So, for example, like, I don't know, some random person could put up the calories they burnt in 30 minutes. They could be a fit athlete, like they could be training, football training, running, everything for like days on end throughout the week. And in 30 minutes, they probably won't burn as much because their body's so used to that. So then you're probably like, oh my God, I burn so much more than that. Yes, because you might not be as fit. So everyone is completely different. And that's always really important to know as well, that just if someone puts up a watch and you look at that and you think you have to get that, it's going to be different always.
yeah, exactly, like
So, moving on to cardio hacks, because as I said, personally, I do find cardio is the depths of despair. And whenever someone's like to me, I just don't enjoy cardio, I'm like saying, I don't either, but we do it. We do what we have to
Yeah,
do. And no, like it's sometimes I'm literally on the Stairmaster treadmill and I'm like, God, like it's over already. This is amazing. And then sometimes I'm like, oh my God, surely it's been 25 minutes and it's been about 30 seconds. Um,
totally.
so yeah, it just depends on the day, depends on the mood. But some hacks are always beneficial. So what would be your number one like cardio hack or what gets you through?
I'm either, like, have to put on a movie or, like, a program or something like that, or I'm on the phone to the girls or on FaceTime to the girls. I'm like, "Just get me through this," like, voice notes, video messages, anything like that. Give me some gossip, get me through that session, like, something to distract that will literally distract my mind and take away from what I'm actually doing is what I need when I'm doing cardio on a machine.
Yeah, so you that's actually such a good idea. FaceTime. Oh my
Yeah,
god, I didn't even think of that.
yeah,
Um Netflix 1000%. So many people actually said Netflix on the box and on the question box, sorry, that I put up and they kind of said Netflix and any good shows that they actually have and that is always great and I always find when something new comes out that I enjoy, I'm like absolutely. But there does come times where there's nothing on Netflix that I actually like,
yeah,
and I don't know what to be doing with myself. Obviously a podcast, like, yes, do
mm,
you know what I mean? And someone actually put in the box and said, "Your podcast literally got me through my run the other day. Thank you so much." And I was nearly crying, so
that,
that's so nice.
yeah,
As well, someone actually said the YouTube dance workouts are my go-to cardio hack, which is
love,
so good. I never even think about
yeah,
that. Especially if you can't make it to the gym and you just want to like put on something maybe on the telly and like just go along with it. YouTube, the dance workouts, amazing. But also, someone told me this before when I was doing a check-in. It was kind of like a YouTube video where you get your steps in with them. I was like, that
stop.
is amazing.
Yeah, love that. Here for
Yeah.
this, like
I actually like, and I'd never even think of that. I'm always just like, oh, you have to go to the gym and get your cardio in. But definitely
yeah,
top hack if you can't get to the gym, you still want to get it done, but you don't want it to be the most boring thing on earth. YouTube dance workouts, 1000% amazing. Or I'm nearly sure they're like, um, they can be like aerobic classes, but you can actually do ones that are for your steps. And it's basically
heavy.
just like someone chatting you through like getting your steps in. I've never done it myself, but I can only imagine that it's quite helpful.
Yeah,
So yeah, Netflix, FaceTime, that's a really good one.
yeah,
And just kind of I find getting through my messages and my emails and stuff like that because that
yeah,
does take my mind off it huge, but also editing, like I'd be doing any little bits and bobs that I have to do, say with content and little things like that that take up time, because then obviously I get some time back in the day. And yeah, I just think maybe just anything that takes your mind off it,
yeah.
because really you don't want to be sitting there listening to your own breath.
No, and that'll make the time go faster, like or go slower even, like, you'll just be, like, literally counting down the seconds, like, if you're doing it like that. I don't know though, did you see the TikTok trend going around? And it was like, "Oh, what podcast do you listen to, like, while you're doing cardio?" And it's literally, like, all the voice notes from, like, your friends. So I was like, "No, like, that is me." Like, I do be, like, voice noting all the girls. I'm like, "Give me the gossip," anything to distract my mind, like and plus, you get to catch up in with your friends as well, so it's a bit
Yeah,
of a win-win there now.
I do enjoy that one. And
Yeah.
as well as that, I actually sometimes see people reading and stuff, but I don't know if I'd have the attention span for
Oh
that.
my god, yeah.
Fair play to
No,
them.
no, I'm
Fair
hanging on
play.
for dear life, like,
I
I
don't
wouldn't
know,
be
the book wouldn't be able to stay in my hand. Also,
yeah.
can we please talk about how people do be on the treadmill, say, texting or whatever, like doing the most and not
Mhm.
holding on to the bar? Like sometimes I actually have to lean or have one hand on the bar or else I'm gone if I'm on my
Oh,
phone at the
yeah,
same time. I
yeah,
don't know how people are on the Stairmaster on their phone or doing bits reading and they're not falling off it. Like I have to concentrate so much on each foot at a time. Like it is
yeah,
crazy. Like,
yeah. Fair play to the people who do that, like,
no, I
teach us
know.
your
And I think one huge thing as well that people obviously love is like watching other people in the gym. So I remember I was in a gym before and the treadmills and the cardio was in like another room and you were like facing a wall. I had to
Oh,
leave. I was like, no, this
yeah,
is hell. You good bit of people watching when you're on that treadmill and that
Oh,
stairmaster, amazing.
yeah,
When the
love
cardio section is out in the open, that's what we need.
yeah. Can we get that everywhere?
Yeah,
Like,
I feel like
yeah,
if I was to ever open a gym, I first things first, a good kind of amphitheater for everyone to watch what's going
yeah,
on their
yeah,
cardio machine because that does make time go quick, so we love that.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. So another thing with cardio, obviously there's different kind of methods you can use, but there's also different ways to do your cardio throughout the week. We obviously mentioned one already that was to aim for calories instead of time. So if there is some clients that come and say, "Do you know, I just don't have the time to say be on the stairmaster for 40 minutes or treadmill or whatever." What I'll normally say is, right, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to aim for 300 calories each session. That's completely on them then how long it takes them. Like the intensity of the cardio that they're doing. That means okay, this is on you now. This could be a 30-minute session or it could be a 50-minute session, but we want to get that 300 calorie burnt. So that's always an amazing thing with regards to time.
Yeah.
And I think another one as well is to set a target amount for the week instead of blocking it into sections. So if someone might be like, "Oh, I only have 40 minutes," or sorry, yeah, I only have 40 minutes on a Tuesday and a Wednesday, but on weekends I can get more done. And I'm kind of
Mm,
like, okay, what we'll do is say we are doing 80 minutes as a target for the whole week. So they
mm.
can kind of then block that off as they want to and as they can as well. So yeah, I do think like it is definitely for some people it's harder time wise to be able to be on a treadmill or a stairmaster for 40, 50 minutes. So there is little things that you can do there to help. Is there any kind of hacks or tricks with you there that you know of?
I would just say that as well, like break up into different sessions, even if you had to. So if you know yourself that you struggle with time during the week, you could maybe keep one of your sessions during the week to just a cardio session and one at the weekend, and then break your weight training up across the week. But you might be doing extra minutes of cardio than if you were just doing, say, three 30-minute sessions. You might go for 245 across just that, because if that's what suits your schedule and again, what you can stay consistent with, just go for it.
Yeah. And that's actually interesting. You said something there, and it kind of a question popped back into my head that people always ask me
Mm.
is if they should have their training and cardio in the same day. And I'm like, absolutely. If that suits you better than going every single day, basically. So, say if you have 3 weight training sessions and 3 cardio sessions, if it suits you better to do your training and your cardio in the same day, absolutely do. I don't know why anyone well, if you have the time, you have the time, but I don't know why anyone would choose to come home and go back to the gym. Do you know what I mean? The next day just for cardio. I would say to do them on the same day, get them out of the way. But if you have all the time in the world and you want to be going to the gym a few times a week and more than you already are, you can kind of switch them up. That's no problem and have them separately. But absolutely no harm to do them one after another.
No, plus it gives you an extra rest day as well. So your
Yeah.
body does need a rest as well, even from cardio too. So if you can get them done together, go for it. If not, not the end of the world. Break them up as you have to.
And what's your thoughts on, like which should you do cardio before or after training?
I would say cardio after training always, especially if you're going to be doing the two together. Get your weight training done first and then your cardio because think about it like when you are weight training, you want you basically want all your food in your system to give you that energy that you need for that weight training session. So you want as much energy as you can before training weights. And then, yes, you may not have as much food, say, left in your system because you would have burnt some of that energy in weight training, but you will still have stores there that will get you through your cardio. Whereas if you done it the other way around, you'd probably deplete a lot of your stores before or during your cardio, and then your weight training session would feel like crap because you wouldn't have as much energy for it.
Yeah. And people will always be like, "Oh, do you know, I've barely any energy though for cardio." And I'm like, "Yeah, but that's what we choose
That's
because
the
we
point.
want to
Yeah.
give more to weight training." Absolutely. If your goal is physique change, and obviously muscle mass and just all around body composition, you definitely want
Mm.
to give more to your actual weight training. As well as that, right? It takes so much more of your mental state when weight training. Like you have to think more, your brain is switched on a lot more during weight training than it is say in your cardio session. So if you're doing
Mm,
your cardio first and then you're like literally exhausted going into your weight training, not only is your body tired, but your brain is like it is probably going to be a shitter session. So I would always say to do your cardio after your weight training, unless your goals are more fitness based, and more like, you actually want to do some sort of like marathon or something that really really means that your cardio is more important really.
yeah, definitely, like
So, obviously, coming into running now, as I said, running era has well and truly struck in 2024, and it is amazing. Like, I actually love the fact that like it is creeping up because it's getting a lot of people into fitness that might not have been before. Because obviously, it's free. You can literally do it from your doorstep as well, and it's a nice way to actually get your fitness levels up without being in a gym setting. So, I completely get it. But what got you into the running? And when did you start? I think it was January, February, wasn't it?
yeah, it was like the end of January this year. I think everyone was just on this running buzz, and I was like, "What is this all about?" Because anytime I had tried running in the past, I would have just put so much pressure on it. I never could have enjoyed it. So, especially as well coming out of like photo shoot prep, then as well having new goals in place, I was like, I may as well try something new. I was sick of the sight of a stairmaster and stuff like that, so I was like, right, we'll just give it a go. And I remember like my first run, I think I done like a 5K or something, but I was actually able for a 5K, whereas in the past I never would have been able to before. So I think that kind of like gave me a spark, like, oh right, okay, maybe this is something I could actually be good at, and then something that I also had enjoyed as well. And it was the first time that I'd ever gotten enjoyment from a run too. So
Yeah.
then I was like, right, we'll see how we can go with this. And then yeah, haven't stopped since. Like,
And I'll never forget, like I started because I remember I was just always like, I'm just bad at running. Do you know what I mean? I was like, I'm just not good at it. Like, it's just something that I don't gel with. And I was like, no, stop thinking like that. Because if I keep telling myself that, that's all I'm ever going to know. That's what's going to be true. So I was like, I'm proving myself wrong. So I really did last January, I set out on the goal to run a 10K for the women's mini marathon, which is, yeah, so it's 10K and that's in June. So
yeah,
last January, I was like, look, I have 5 months to really like try and challenge myself here. I won't lie though, when I did first begin, I was like, am I going to be able for this? Because I went out on a 2K at the start. I thought that I was going to be crawling home. Like, I'll never forget that 2K in my life. I was dead. And people do be like to me, oh my God, running so hard. The first run so hard. I'm like, yes, same. Like, I didn't find it easy either. It
mm,
was so hard, and I'll never forget you went out on your first one, you're like, "Oh, 5K, I love that." I was like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "How? How did you just do that?" Because I do genuinely think, and I'm not saying that it was easier for you than it was me, but I do
yeah.
think some people just enjoy it a lot more than others. Um, I still to this day, I still go for runs and, I'll still kind of add them in here and there, but I still don't think it's something that I love.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of them things though. You either love it or like not your favorite thing in the world. You would much rather do something else. And look, like that's fine too. But it is like, please always know, like running is it is actually so hard. Like, and even to this day, like whatever many months later, I'm still like dead after my like running sessions. Like, even if it's a 5K, I'm like that took my soul. Do you know, it is
Isn't this
tough.
what's mad? Like, I'll go out and do a 3K and I'll be like, "Oh my God, like, I am
Yeah.
going to die." I'll go out and do
Yeah.
a 10K and I'll be like, "I am going to die." It does
Yeah.
not matter how long you go for, like, they're hard
Yeah.
no matter what. But
Yeah.
I will never, ever, ever, for as long as I live, forget my first run, right? It was that 5K challenge. Do you remember during lockdown? And it
Oh
was like,
God. Yeah.
5K and nominate 5 people. And I'll
Yeah.
never forget the day I logged onto Instagram and someone had nominated me and I was like, I can't not do this. Everyone and their nanny is out doing this challenge. Like, I'm not doing it. So me and my sister went out and we went out on our 5K. I was no to say I was so shocked because she could actually do more than I could, but I had stitches. I was crying. I honestly was like, I'm going to puke. And I actually shocked myself at how unfit I was. I was only like 23. And I was like, I'm 23 years of age and I can't even get 500 meters without stopping and having a stitch. Like, and that turned me off it because I was like, I never want to realize how bad I am at it ever again. Do you know what I mean? So I was like, no. So I always remember literally sobbing after my first 5K. And I think that was in at the end of January, February. I was literally sobbing because I was like, I proved myself wrong. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that 23-year-old that could not even run 500 meters, she can do it. Do you know what I mean? If once you actually get out there and kind of practice, same as everything, do you know what I mean? Build it up, you will get there like 100%.
Definitely, like, that's the thing, like, it is just a thing of, like, it's really nice as well because you're proving yourself wrong and, like, all them past thoughts. Because I remember being told, like, in the past, like, I'd never be able to run, I wouldn't be able to do this and that, and then it's like, well, actually, look, I'm proving all of yous wrong, like, I'm out here doing whatever runs now, and it is that, like, it gives you that capability and belief in yourself that, like, yes, you can do the hard things and absolutely go smash them too.
Yeah, I think running really, really does give you this certain it's just this different mindset because
Mm.
you are genuinely like you're beating every single thought that you have and you're challenging yourself with every kind of km that you do. So yeah, it's definitely a lot more challenging and it's a lot more mental and mindset based, I would say. And
Yeah.
even like when it comes to physical fitness, of course, like you have to make sure your heart rate and breathing is all okay, but mindset is huge.
Yeah, it is, like, you need to tell yourself before your runs, like, put out them positive affirmations, and even during your run, like, "I can do this. This is going to be a good day. I'm going to do this run. I'm gonna get to whatever I have set." Like, I think it is hugely how you speak to yourself before it and during it, as much as actually having the fitness to do it.
Yeah, and I remember doing my first 10K, I think it was, when I
Mm,
went out on it, and I just kept saying to myself, "Just one more step, like, just keep taking another step." Do you know what I mean? And
yeah,
look, you get there eventually, but a huge thing is to obviously not rush it either, and we will come into some tips and tricks as well, but do not rush yourself because that is literally how you'll end up hating it 100% because that's how I ended up hating it. And then when I actually came back around to trying to get back into it again, I did realize that, taking that slow and steady pace is just so much more beneficial.
yeah,
So when it comes to, and I just want to chat about this because everyone talks about it, but that runner's high and, that kind of thing of, oh my God, runner's high, it feels amazing. And I'm like, I honestly don't think I have ever experienced runner's high. I genuinely am like, am I broken? I don't know. But basically, it's a release of endorphins to the brain. Like, so any type of exercise you release endorphins and we love that, but because your heart rate is up at such a high level for such a long period of time, like the endorphins are flowing,
mm.
and that's amazing, we love that. But I don't think I've ever actually gotten that runner's high that everyone talks about. Have you? Like, what is the sauce?
Oh, yeah, I have actually a good few times, like, I would find out, like, myself, like, I'd run a 5K and, like, just running a 5K, I don't know why, I just associate that with hell because the first 5K is, like, always the worst, but, like, anytime I do anything past 5K, a little bit of a longer run, I just love it so much, I feel amazing after it, and, like you just be in such a good mood, like, you have the music blaring, like, in your ears, you just like I don't know, it's just like a feel good thing, like, you literally feel like you can do anything.
Yeah, no, it
And
is.
it's
I
like I
would
love it.
love to know what it feels like, but
Yeah,
I just as much as I still do it and it is challenging, and I definitely it was like a monumental moment when I got to my 5K and when I got to my 10K. But at the same time, I don't think I've ever like experienced that actual like euphoric like
yeah,
runner's high that everyone talks about. But yeah, I do get it though. I understand what obviously goes on. So anyone out there that is like thinking about starting running and stuff, I do it just for that and just to kind of see that
yeah,
feeling of the endorphins and just that feel good. Like I think even though I've never like had that actual high itself, I feel so good when I achieve something that I haven't done before or that I didn't think I could necessarily achieve beforehand. And it is such a good feeling when you finish your run and maybe you progress in some small way, or even just the fact that you got out and did it when maybe you didn't actually want to.
yeah, that's it. It is just a thing of, like, trying to get better with every run that you do, but just enjoying it for what it is as well. You're doing something to benefit yourself and your health and feel good in yourself. So take it in and celebrate that too along the way.
Absolutely. So what is your thoughts on running as like a cardio method, especially with say clients that want to lose weight, fat loss, and just overall like lifestyle journey? What would your kind of opinion on cardio and running being put together be?
I think as if you are a beginner with cardio, it is great to add in running, or a beginner with running even. It's great to add in as cardio because you know yourself, right? Every week I can go and see progress. And I always say to people that are like coming and saying, "Oh, I want to start doing running as a type of cardio," I'll say absolutely go for it. Go with your like the likes of your Couch to 5K app and like build on it from there, because realistically the first time that you're doing it, you know your heart rate is going to be high. However, I think if you then want to say, I want to focus on my running and fat loss are not going to go hand in hand. And that's something to just be mindful of. Like, especially if you do want to train for something like a half marathon or a marathon, like you need to fuel that goal hugely. And you like sitting in a deficit for that is not going to do you any good. So I think if it's something that you want to incorporate in as a beginner and you want it as, you want to either focus on getting to a 5K or improving your 5K pace or anything like that, absolutely incorporate it in. But if you have then these bigger goals in mind with running, I wouldn't necessarily use it as cardio, or I would just switch up your goal for a while and focus on the running instead of the fat loss.
Yeah. Yeah, that is huge. I think it's an amazing cardio method with regards to the fact that you don't have to go somewhere to do it. Like you
Yeah.
can literally do it from your doorstep and you don't have to be in the gym. Like you can choose different routes. It's amazing to get fresh air. You can go with a friend. There's communities now that obviously do all the run groups and stuff. So
Yeah.
I love it. And anyone that ever says, can I bring running into my plan? 1,000% we can. I am all here for it. It's also a lovely way to change things up and to have a little bit more of a different goal. But it is something that when you're starting off and you're progressing with it, it's an amazing goal to have alongside your fat loss goal.
Mm.
And it's the secondary goal. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Your primary goal is your physique kind of results, and say your fat loss phase or whatever is your goal there with your physique. And then your secondary goal might be your running, and progressing a little bit with that. But if you did want to flip them, and if your primary goal then was to run a marathon, half marathon, or to really truly see more progress with it, you probably can't focus on fat loss as well because you need to be fueling your body obviously a lot better.
Yeah, 100%. Like, because it takes a lot on your body, and like you'll see it even anyone that you do know, or you see maybe on TikTok or something, people that are running like long distances or fast paced distances, the hunger does be through the roof because you're using so much energy to fuel that goal. Like if you think about it, if you're doing maybe like a 15 km run, like that could take you like anywhere from 90 to 105, 110 minutes. You doing that while you're in a deficit is not gonna do you any good. You're gonna feel worse for it, if anything. So definitely, like you said, have running as a secondary goal instead of having it as your main goal if your goal is fat loss.
Yeah, and I think there as well then, like as you said, you can probably maintain
Yeah,
you can probably maintain throughout like prepping for a 15K or a half marathon or anything of the likes, but it's very important to fuel yourself properly, or else,
yeah,
if you're eating say 15, 1,600 calories and then going on a 15K run, like surely be to God you'd be collapsing like by the
yeah.
time it's done. I like You'd have to really like make sure that you're obviously fueling yourself correctly before it, but
Mhm.
also you'll be starved after it and trying to then be like, oh my god, I've eaten all my calories, can't eat anymore, and your body's screaming out for food. So it is hard to put a physique goal like that and a performance goal together. It is very very much so what you want in that specific
Mhm.
time. But yeah, as we said, it's either one or the other. You can have them both together, but one definitely kind of trumps the other and should be more of an emphasis. But for just the general kind of fat loss goal and someone that wants to bring in running as a secondary goal, it is Amazing. I absolutely love it. And especially with all kind of the run groups now as well. And as I said, just the fact that you can literally leave your doorstep and go for a run.
Yeah,
We're here for it.
yeah.
So yes, when it comes to nutrition with running, is there any tips that you have?
So with your nutrition, something that you want to focus on hugely is going to be carbs. And like that whole thing of fearing carbs, you need to put that mindset in the bin basically, because carbs are what are going to give you that energy for your run. So obviously I have a thing that I'm like, you need to eat before you run. Like, and even if you're going early in the morning, stuff, you need to have something. Could be a banana, a squares bar, anything in your system, a fast acting carb that's going to give you the energy for that run, even if you're doing 4 or 5K, because other than that, you're going to feel like absolute crap after it. So that's one thing. And then as well, outside of that, you want to make sure you are getting your protein in too and your carbs in post run, because you want to repair, like replenish even your glycogen stores, but you also then want to make sure that you are giving yourself protein so that your muscles are actually able to recover from your runs as well.
Yeah, like it's as much as you'll probably get to a certain place, not eating carbs or not kind of fueling yourself correctly. You'll probably get to a certain place and you like, you'll be able to improve, but you
Mm.
will hit a plateau then. Do you know what I mean? You'll start getting injuries, you won't be able to progress, your performance will get weaker. And as well as that, then you'll be sore after your runs. So say you do a 15K, you're going to be sore for what, 4 or 5 days after, can't do another one then. Whereas if you're actually feeling yourself correctly and you're making sure your recovery is just as important, that means that you can actually, do another run, maybe a few days after. Amazing. But yeah, definitely agree with all of that. Fueling your body is extremely important and giving yourself that carb intake. And yeah, especially when it comes to bigger goals and longer runs like that. And obviously yourself. You are now coming into your half marathon, and what has training for that been like, and how has that been?
It's been a roller coaster. Like, it is completely different to what I am used to. Like, I'm so used to, say, setting myself physique goals. So setting myself a performance goal has been a completely different thing, and like a flip in mindset and stuff like that. But I've honestly loved every step of the journey. Like, it's just huge, like, and being able to kind of push yourself in a way that you never have before as well, push yourself out of your comfort zone and doing something new. Like, obviously that is scary, but I would tell anyone to do it. Just having that self-belief in yourself that like you can actually go and do the hard things and then go and actually achieve them. Like, we love to see that.
Yeah, no, we do. And I'm so excited as well because there's a few girls I know actually doing it, but even just for yourself, because it's mad thinking that you really only began probably the end
Mm.
of January-ish,
Yeah,
and you're already doing your first half marathon. And it's such
yeah,
an amazing achievement. It really is. But even as you said there, for a good while, obviously you were going on holidays. So a goal for us was okay, physique, we want to look
yeah,
amazing. And then over the past probably 8 weeks there, this block, we were more concentrating on fuel, energy, performance.
yeah,
So you did have to be like, right, I'm now switching this up. Mindset had to be told, like, this is what's happening.
yeah,
And that's kind of a huge thing as well. Like we did say, you can't really look at both. If you're giving
yeah.
half to both, you're not giving 100% to one. And that's obviously not what you want. So what have you found kind of like the hardest when it came to like training for the marathon? Is it the runs itself? Is it the fueling? Is it the mindset? What like where are you at with that?
I think the hardest part for me, it hasn't been, say, getting things done, because I know myself, like the discipline and stuff will kick in, and I'm lucky that I have built that through having physique goals. So that hasn't been an issue. I think it's more so that the injuries and stuff have started to creep in. So I obviously like injured my calf there for a minute. And with the performance goal, I feel like you can get very much in your head of like, I need to be constantly go, go, go. I need to be hitting whatever amount of runs each week if I want to be able to do this, etc., etc. But then having to take that second to pull back for a week if you're getting injured or things like that, it's very hard on your mindset. And then the belief of like, I'm not going to be able to do this and stuff like that will kick in. But just remind yourself, like, you're training over a set amount of time. So like I gave myself like 8 or 9 weeks, and I would have had a good base, say, with the running. I was getting like my 10, 12 Ks, say, before this goal had even started and I started training towards it. So I knew I had a good base there. But then again, as I said, it is very hard when like you know yourself, like you have an injury, you might have to take a minute away from it to like benefit your body more. It's very hard on your mindset to come back from that. So just remind yourself like these things do happen along the way, but they do allow you as well to come back stronger than ever and even with a stronger mindset too, because you know yourself like, right, I have this to do, I have this day, I have to achieve it by, like, let's just give this everything that we have. And you'll build that resilience as well if you have injuries or setbacks along the way.
I think that goes for anything though, even there running, your physique goals, anything at all. There's going to be setbacks. Like they might look a little bit different, but there's going to be setbacks. And it is always to just remind yourself that it's not the end of the world. And that small setback could genuinely have you diving 10 steps forwards afterwards. So yeah, just to always kind of give yourself that minute to breathe and get back into it. Okay, so we got a few questions in. So the first question that I got in was, should I do cardio before or after weights? I'm always so tired after my sessions. This is obviously what we chatted about earlier as well. And I would say cardio after weights if your main priority is physique goals.
Yeah, definitely. Like as we had spoken about earlier, like if your goal is a physique goal, you want to make sure that you have all of your energy to give to your strength training and your weight training because that's what's going to give you the physique shape that you are looking for. And then with the cardio, it's just going to aid that goal. It's not going to give you the physique you want.
Should I eat before or after cardio or both?
This will obviously just depend on you, I think, and the time that you are doing it at. So if you're doing cardio in the afternoon, 100% you want food in your system before you're doing that, and then you want to refuel yourself after. But if you're someone who likes to just get up and get it over and done with at like five, it's not essential to eat, say, before doing something like the treadmill or the Stairmaster. You could get away with if you wanted, just having nothing in the system and then eating once you get home.
Yeah, I think it's definitely person dependent. Like you shouldn't be
Yeah,
looking at someone else seeing what they're doing. What I would say is yes, if you literally are starved and you need to eat before you go to the gym, eat before you go.
mm,
For me personally though, and especially when it comes to running, I can't eat before a run. It
really,
have to be something very small, like minuscule. But I've always noticed that if I eat before a run, I get really bad stitches, and I can't give it as much as usual. Whereas some people literally have to eat before they go, like that's their fuel. It's just completely person dependent. So when it comes to it, I think you just need to kind of, I would actually say trial and error. I
yeah,
had a client ask me through the week there if she should eat before her morning session, and I was just like, look, if you're hungry, eat. If you're not, you don't have to.
yeah,
But I would definitely just see what suits you better when it comes to digestion of the food. So some people might have to eat like 2 hours before training, so it digests a little bit more.
yeah. I think as well, if you are gonna eat something before you train and you know you don't have a huge window to eat, just have something small, something light, a quick snack that you know, right, it'll give you that little boost of energy if that's what you want, or if you don't want, then you could do it fasted, but just don't be having a massive meal and then 30 minutes later you're in a gym. You're just gonna leave yourself feeling sick with stitches. You're gonna feel uncomfortable. So just risk assess it, I would nearly say trial and error.
Yeah, I'd say something really beneficial as well. If you are up early, some fruit is great. As a small snack, maybe some fruit and yogurt. One thing that I used to do that used to leave me in the pits of despair was I'd have oats in the morning before my training
Mm,
sessions, and that was not a good idea because I needed time to let that digest. Like oats are heavy on the stomach,
yeah.
bread is heavy on the stomach, so if you are, say, training earlier and you want to just have a light snack, I would probably go for fruit, yogurt, something small rather than stodgy carbs that do take longer to digest.
Definitely, yeah.
So the next one here is if I'm weight training, how many runs in between 5 to 8K runs should I be doing so I don't get injured either?
This is gonna be, again, very person dependent because it's all going to be assessed by how you recover from each of them. So if you are someone who can recover quickly from your runs and your training sessions, you could maybe go for 2 or 3 runs, but then if you are someone who takes a little bit longer for recovery, which is absolutely fine, I would say go for like 1 or 2 runs a week, and then just make sure that, like, if you know yourself, right, I'm going for an 8K run tomorrow, do maybe an upper body session before it instead of legs, kinda space them out a little bit.
Yeah, I think definitely person dependent on your recovery. And obviously I think a huge one is on your goals. If your
Yeah.
goals are more to build muscle mass and to change your body composition, as we've said, and then training is going to be your main priority, and you want to give more to training and weight training in itself. And maybe you don't want cardio to be as intense and as progressive as running, maybe. So it will depend on you as a person and how many runs you can actually fit in, how your body responds to it, how your body recovers, but also on your actual goals. So, if your goal is to change your body composition, you want to give more effort to actual weight training. So running might have to take a little bit more of a back seat. So, realistically, if I was to just go off like a general basis here, I would say maybe 2 runs per week, as well as your training, but it is very person specific. So that's just a very general base that I'd go off. What would be your number one tip, or just a few tips, anything you have to share with anyone that wanted to get started with running?
Firstly, I would say what you wanna do if you're starting is to get your base. So figure out, right, you could literally just and say, right, I'm going to go for a run and just do whatever you can. And you might think, oh my God, like this isn't enough, this isn't whatever. Grand, you can always progress on that. So start off small, could be a little 1 or 2K run, and then assess how your pace was. You can assess how your heart rate was and just overall how you felt with that run. And from there, you can make adjustments. So you might need to actually slow down a little bit so that you can run that little bit further, or you may need to even, fuel yourself a little bit better. It's all just a thing of like trial and error with running. You need to just establish a base and go from there, but just do not let other people get in your head, especially people who are at a different level than you. If you are someone who is a beginner and your pace is 8 minutes for your first run, just that's amazing. And there's nothing wrong with that. And you can only get better from there if you stay consistent. So just don't let the noise from social media and others around you dictate your running journey too, because if you let the pressure of other people and what they're doing take over, you're just going to set yourself up to fail. You've nowhere to go from there then.
Yeah, I think a huge one from my own experience, and when I take my two experiences of starting
Mm.
off, first time round, I did go out and it was a sprint. Like I was ready, all guns blazing. I was thumping the pavement. Like, do you know what I mean? And I think now what I would say to anyone, and I would scream it, is to literally go out and go on a fast walk. Like slow the fuck down. No one is sprinting here. You are going to lead into failure.
Mhm.
Just slow it down. And even as you said there, just go out and see what you can do. If that's a 1K, amazing. Next time, go out, get 1.2. Like you just want to progress every single time. So it is huge that I think everyone looks online and it's like this thing that you have to go out and run a 5K. No, everyone that runs a 5K started off with a 1K at some stage, started off with a 2K. We all go through the actual like progression of getting better and being able to do longer paces. So do not, be disheartened if you go out and you can only run 1K. That's 1K better than what you could do if you didn't go at all. And even as you said, the noise on social media is a lot. And I remember myself, I went out and I remember getting a 3K, and it was the first 3K I ever did consecutive. And I came in, I was buzzing with this 3K. And then I went on Instagram and, I saw someone getting 5K, 10K, whatever. And I was like, oh, that's actually really sad because, I didn't get that. Do you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
3K was my best. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, I should take a step back. And I was like, no, I'm not letting people on Instagram dictate my journey. I have to start somewhere too. They had to start somewhere as well. And you just really need to actually back yourself and like celebrate your wins, because every single one is important. And even if it is just an extra 200, 500 meters on a run, or even if it's just shaving 30 seconds off or something
Yeah.
small, that is huge. It's extremely important to like celebrate your achievements on it.
Yeah, definitely. Because I even remember, like, myself with my running and stuff, and I remember, like, the first time I had done a 10K or whatever, and I was like, "Oh my god, like, look what I've just done," like, absolutely buzzing, and, like, my pace was probably closer to, like, the 7-minute mark, and I was like, "Sure, does that even count?" Like, it was so much slower than everyone else, like, that I was seeing around me running and stuff like that, but then I was like, "Well, I just done my first 10K, like, why am I letting this noise from social media and everyone else's journey dictate mine when I'm literally in a completely different position to them. And this journey is unique to me. And, yes, it may have been like on the slower end of things for me compared to now. It was still a huge win. And even just being able to run like a 10K in itself, a 1K, anything, even 500 meters is something to celebrate because running is not easy. It is hard. And no matter how much experience you have, running is still hard. So just make sure that you do celebrate every single win along the way.
Yeah, I think number one is to literally go out and go as slow as you possibly can because you don't
Yeah,
want to go out there and use all of your energy at once. And as well as that, you don't want to end up hating it, thinking that, you actually have to go out sprinting. You definitely do not. Just go out, small jog. We love the jog. I am
yeah,
100% a slow runner and I'm fine with that.
yeah,
So yeah, slow down. You do not need to be sprinting. Get your base in check. Go out, see what you can do and then progress from there. And it does not matter if you can do 500, if you can do 2K, 5K or 6K. You get that base and that's your marker. You can always progress then as you go. Stop looking at everyone around you because if you're comparing yourself, that is one way to actually quit and be like, "Do you know what? Don't care. I'm not as good as Melissa. So why do I even bother?" So stop looking at everyone else around you and just concentrate on your own wins and your own achievements. And as that as well, enjoy it. I think it's very important to not like be constantly looking at the time and how long it took you because you're going like if you want to go out and run a 5K and you run a 5K, who cares if you did that in 30 minutes, 40 minutes, or 50 minutes? You just
yeah,
ran a 5K. Like I had to keep reminding myself of that I was like, I don't care about the time once I get there. I'm
yeah.
I'm I'm going to. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to get that 5K. So what if I do it in 35 minutes or in 40? Do you know what I mean?
This is it. Yeah, and I would even say, like, where you were saying about enjoying it, one thing that I have found and like a tip I would give to anyone is when you are running, and it may be controversial to some, but take the watch off as well. Download Strava, put the phone away, set out your distance, whatever it is, if you're doing a 3K, set yourself right. I know this is my route because the more distraction you have on your run as well, like the less you'll enjoy it. So I know, like, before, say, holidays and stuff, when I was just running because I enjoyed it, I wasn't really enjoying it 100% because I was constantly just looking down at this watch being like, "Oh my god, I'm going slower now, like I need to speed up this pace, whatever." And like the best thing I actually ever done was break that watch now with half marathon training because I just put my Strava on, the phone goes in my pocket, I know my route, I know what it is that I have to do, but I'm not constantly comparing myself and looking down, seeing how far I've ran, what my pace is right now, how many calories I've burned, what my heart rate is. Just go off of how you actually feel on the day as well.
Yeah, I do. There's so many things that we can say to people because I see it all the time. Genuine people fear running, like they fear it, and they're too embarrassed to go out and run. And what happens if someone sees them? They don't want to know, like if they're good or if they're bad at it. And I remember that as well. I was like, this is so embarrassing if someone sees me run because like I am not a pretty runner whatsoever. But let's be real, like if it's your own goal, if it's something that's going to help you get better, so what? Like literally anyone else around does not matter. And one thing that I always say is that if you're afraid to go out, say, and run and you're embarrassed that someone might see it, I'd honestly be more embarrassed for those people that are watching you run
Mm.
because I'm like, they're the ones that are not actually active on their goals and don't obviously care, whereas you're someone actually trying to make yourself be better and do better. So yeah, I do hear of that sometimes a lot, and we're here to banish that. We're not being embarrassed for getting after our goals. Like that's a no-go.
Absolutely not. Like, it's your journey, it's your progress. Focus on you. It's a nice thing to do to literally just improve yourself and better yourself in so many ways, shape and forms. Like, you're not only building on your fitness, but you're building on your mindset, your resilience, everything. So Who cares what everyone else is doing? It's literally it should only matter what you're doing right now and focusing on being that better you.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being here and for obviously chatting through everything as well. I always love kind of having you here and being able to bounce off each other too. And a huge good luck with the half marathon, which is so exciting. It literally came in so quick. It's obviously next week. And I hope you're absolutely buzzing for it.
Oh, I can't wait now. I'm like ready to go.
So, Queens, if you have gotten this far, thank you so much for tuning in today and for listening along. I absolutely loved that episode. And I always love just chatting through things and having someone else's kind of experiences and knowledge there as well. And of course, if you ever have any questions on this episode or any episode at all, or just questions in general on your journey, please know that is always what I'm here for. So, always just reach out and ask away. Thank you so much for being here today, and as always, for your support and love. And I'm so excited to see you in the next one. Oh, and always remember, if there are days where you simply don't believe in yourself or you just don't feel like continuing, I am always over here believing in you. And I am always over here rooting for you.